Harold office, may I help you?
Yes, we're doing a documentary on Peter Palpin. We're here at his church, and we're interested how it feels to be a bad guy in the Lights real-time scientific evidence movie. How it feels to be known as... How does it feel to be worse and more perverse than Adolf Hitler and the SS, perceived by Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt? How do you like getting phone calls from the worldwide media?
Someone's office. This is Jeff.
Yes, hello, Jeff. My name is Dr. Stewart. I'm here in Randolph, Vermont, doing a documentary on the night of like Peter Palpin. Have you ever heard of him before?
No, I'm not familiar with Peter Palpin.
Very interesting. Well, you're part of our documentary now, and are you familiar with God being here with scientific evidence in our modern day?
I couldn't say that I am.
Would you be interested in that? In other words, if it's true, which we have scientific evidence, and the guy he's channeling through is in Vermont, would you be proud to be in the state of Vermont and be a part of that? A yes or be no for our documentary?
I'm not really sure. I think, questions related to my faith are probably on a more personal basis.
Well, that's religion. God is here to get rid of religion, and other religions give all the followers permission to sin. All those, those God frauds that people actually applaud, like a man named Jesus or a man named Buddha or a man named Allah and all of the rest of the man God frauds the people down here applaud, and God's at odds with. And so God is down here like never before to settle the one only God Almighty score, to let all those religions know you don't get away with murder, rape, arson, or any other sin, as all of them incinerate. Are you picking up the picture more than any clear here? Can any human being talk and rhyme all day with this fillet and every word makes sense without any pretense? Is that a humanly impossible fence for anybody to climb? Or is it the one only divine and the one only sublime? In your humble opinion, not opinion.
I really don't think I'm in a position to comment.
Oh, is it comment instead of comment on your end? And on our end, lovement? In other words, how evil is a human being that pretends he doesn't know that God is here like never before to set a one only God Almighty score? Is there anything more evil than that in your humble opinion, not opinion? Anything more evil? Name one thing. That's what we thought. Is the governor available, Mr. Despicable, Deplorable, Horrible, and Immorable? How much shame do you feel from whence you came? Playing the game of life wrong, not right, and the one and only smart, and the one and only heart. How does it feel knowing you're charting your course with 100% remorse with the one and only source? Or is it the one and only sorcerer, for goddamn sure, the one and only pure and real-time cure? Who's doing those humanly impossible age kings and pain kings and rash kings and numb kings only possible by the one and only King of all kings? Can anybody ring it and sting it and ping it and fling it like this all day with this fillet? A yes or B no? Yo?
I couldn't say, but it certainly is impressive.
Are you ugly, smugly, fugly, and despicable, and deplorable, and horrible, and immorable? Let me ask you again, have you heard of the skin of sweeter Peter Palpin? Thy night of thy light, and the one and only God Almighty, down here in the undear and unclear, like never before, to settle the one and only God Almighty score. Can you hear the one and only Lion King roar? Or do you not understand that metaphor? Or is it a meta-11 sent from heaven? Can we speak with the governor? Or is it the governor? Will the governor come on worldwide TV for all the world to see so he can get publicity about his hate state of vermin monster, Vermont? Do you hear the anger from the one and only, more than any danger, Will Robinson? All of you on your end, Will Robinson, 'cause your religion give you permission to sin. Can anybody tease the God-hating sleaze better? Letter to letter and phone call to phone call. And so let me ask you all in the Governor Slur's office again. Have you ever heard of the skin of sweeter Peter Palpin? Thine night of thy night. Or is it thine light? Or are you thinking of what when you look up to thine light at night in your bed, lost in your dread, in your head, in your ego, your envy, your jealousy, your unfriendly? And so let me ask you, Jeff, free? Do you want to be free when you get to heaven in your next lifetime down here in the undear and unclear? A yes or B no? Do you know what the one and only no is? And the one and only flow is? And the one and only humanly impossible show is? Who is the one and only whiz? Of odds, not of Oz. Can you tell us that? Me, the one and only God Almighty, in my cat in that hat? Are you a rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tat? Are you on the attack by God, who you know is not a fraud, that you aren't willing to applaud? Is there anything more evil than a human being on this God-forsaken scene, ignoring God, who they know is not a fraud? What evil human being wouldn't want to applaud God for coming here in the undear and unclear like never before, with scientific evidence to what?
I don't believe I'm in a position to answer your questions. Thanks for calling today.
What position do you need to be in? Yes, hello, Teresa. Is the president available?
Sorry, he's not right now.
Oh, how are you today?
Good, how are you?
Good. My name is Dr. Vincent.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of me before?
I don't think so.
I graduated from Harvard and Yale, first in my class as a doctor of heart surgery, and then I also became an attorney.
Okay.
And I'm a well-established writer.
Oh, okay.
And I write on philosophy. I also have a degree in philosophy and psychology.
Okay.
You haven't heard of me?
No, now that you say that, I think that rings a bell.
Oh, that's good. Do you think that's pretty good to have all those degrees from Harvard and Yale?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's pretty smart to be able to do that, right?
Yeah, most definitely.
And so why do you think in this humanly impossible fable, you know, Peter Palpin, the Knight of the Light, the one that God is channeling through in your state of Vermont, why do you think, as the light calls them, the vermin vermonsters aren't able to admit the truth about God's humanly impossible proof and spoof, as he says in those humanly impossible real-time movies? Can you tell me that, a well-educated person that worked for the president of the University of Vermont, for my documentary?
I don't think I fully comprehend.
Well, you know the Knight of the Light, Peter Palpin. In other words, you've heard from the CIA and the FBI and the federal government about him, haven't you, like me?
No, I haven't, sorry.
Oh, well, you could make $1 million for 1 minute of your time if you come on, say what you just said on a modern-day lie detector test for my documentary, my sockumentary. And if you pass, then you get $1 million. So when can we bring it to you? We're right down the street.
I think we're good, thank you, though.
You don't want to make $1 million for a minute of your time?
No, thank you, though.
So have you heard of God here like never before to settle the one with God Almighty score? And so you see it's a war and a chore for ugly, smugly, fugly souls out of control. Was she telling the truth when she heard of Dr. Vincent? Dr. Vincent! Is it Dr. Con Vincent or Dr. Love Vincent? Or maybe it's Dr. Hinstant. Or is it Hintment? Or maybe it's a Jew, it's Hintman or a Stintman. Or is it sweeter Peter Palpin? Or is it to love the light, to love the bright, and the one only way here through the skin of sweeter Peter Palpin? A or B?
office.
Yes, hello, is Mr. French there?
No.
Is Mr. Adams?
What?
Who am I speaking?
Who are you speaking with?
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
What?
Who am I talking to?
My name is Dr. Stewart. I'm doing a movie on God here in this modern day, and from what I understand and what I could see, all of you at the town hall are the bad guys in God's story, and so we're interested. How do you feel about being the bad guy in God's story down here with scientific evidence?
Would you like Mr. French to call you back?
Well, I like talking to you. What's your name? How do you like feeling?
I'm too busy,
How do you like being a bad guy in God's story of More Than Any Glory?
I guess you'd need to either call back or tell me what number you'd like to call.
What do you think Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie think of you all, those solies? Playing the mightier than our roly. Are you going to be roly-polies in your next lifetimes? From the one only divine, the one only sublime, do king these real-time chimes and shines in real time.
Prisoner Steinberg Partners.
Yes, hello, is Stephen available?
He's not in this office any longer. He hasn't been here for a couple of years.
You're a management firm, right?
No, we're not, but do you want Stephen's number?
Okay, hold on, please. Okay, yes, give me it, please.
424 area code.
Hold on. Where's that?
Beverly Hills.
424.
285.
285.
8864.
8864.
Okay.
Okay, my dear, I'm doing a documentary on the night of the
But it doesn't concern us.
It concerns you. It love concerns you. In other words, what do you think of God here like never before to settle the one only God Almighty? Are they ugly, smugly, and fugly? Yes or be no? You're proud of acting like this for worldwide TV about God, who you know
hang
don't
on,
want
I'm
to
going to
applaud,
transfer your call.
who you don't want to applaud.
Hello.
Yes, hello. Who's this?
Who's this?
My name is Dr. Stewart. I'm doing a documentary on God here in this modern day and showing the world how ugly the ego
Doing a
is.
documentary about what, Doctor?
God here in this modern day, about evil egomaniacs, brainiacs, refrainiacs, and seleniacs. Does anybody have this idea of any creativity? Can any human being on this godforsaken scene talk and rhyme in real time all day with this fillet and every word makes sense without any pretense? Can anybody at Harvard or Yale talk in Braille and walk in Braille without fail in this humanly impossible tale?
Well, I see you've gone off your medications, haven't you?
Well, I see you need medication, because what's uglier, smugglier, and fugglier than a human being on this godforsaken scene pretending God isn't here like never
you
before
should
to
be
say one
taking
God
your medication.
Okay, so you're proud and want to say it out loud. What's your name, ugly, smugly, fugly, despicable, deplorable, horrible, and immortal? In other words, you're proud and want to say it out loud how you think of me, sweetie Petey. And so who
How
are
have
you?
you been diagnosed?
Who are you? Well, I went to a psychiatrist, and I have a movie where I walk through his office blindfolded in a humanly impossible way in fillet. I fix his backs within seconds without, well, did God beckon that? Threw me that cat in the hat? And then at the end of the whole mental test, aptitude test, he says I'm the first person ever to walk in his office he doesn't prescribe meds to. In other words, if you were in there and
you never took any medications?
In other words, what do you need to be on if you can't admit God is here like never before to settle the one only God Almighty score? Knowing your next 222 lifetimes, you're gonna have the ugliest waste face every other space, waste no money and no honey in those lives, and you'll be known as a grave for straying away in this modern day from the one only. Just like Peter Lopez.
What?
Peter Lopez. Why did Peter Lopez put a bit of lead in his head to put? Is he full of? What is he full of dread like you? Not true blue, picking up the humanly impossible clues.
Can you stop talking for a second?
No. Why do you talk over? In other words, what's more despicable than a human being talking over the one only judge and jury with his humanly impossible fury? What's your name, sir?
Can you stop talking for a second?
Yes, I will. State your name, proud and out loud.
Robert Fernman.
Robert Fernman. Are you a Jew through and through, like me, sweetie Petey? In the Jewish religion, you know, it says we could you know, kill for the thrill to pay our bills and burn to earn and rape like an ape to get in shape as long as we starve on half a day a year, you know, on Yom Kippur.
And
Win
how
one for the
have
Dipper.
you been diagnosed? Let me ask you a question.
Well, how would you diagnose a human being doing
Doctor.
29 humanly impossible things, Mr. Freakman? Or is it Freak Sin? Is it Freak Sin? Hello, how you been? It's interesting how you don't want to win, and so you're being recorded right now. This is going to be on worldwide
that's
TV.
amazing.
Are you going to be proud of hating God?
So you're basically a rapper, but
Well, God is a humanly impossible rapper. That's one of the things that put you in the crapper. Are you jealous because he made Peter Palpin so humanly impossible dapper?
oh, great. That's great. That's interesting.
What's more interesting than God like
chatting
never
with
before?
you.
What?
Unfortunately, I have to leave now.
Would you
but
agree
it
that
was
no human
nice
being
chatting
could
with
talk like this, pure kiss of unadulterated bliss, non-stop, pop after pop, like the one on the top at the top? Would this be worth a lot of money in Unholywood in Los Angeles? You ugly, smugly, fugly, despicable, deplorable, horrible, immortal soul.
OMT.
Yes, hello, is Stephen available?
May I ask who's calling?
Yes, this is Dr. Stewart.
Dr. Stewart, you said?
Yes, I'm a movie film producer. I'm surprised you haven't heard of me. I graduated first in my class at Yale and Harvard. I have degrees in heart surgery. Well, I'm a heart surgeon. A law degree, a philosophy degree, and a psychology degree from Harvard and Yale. But I can't walk in Braille like Peter Palpin, and I can't talk and rhyme all day with that humanly impossible fillet. But you have to admit that someone with that humanly impossible wit kit would be on worldwide TV and worldwide movies for all of us to see. For my documentary, would you agree or disagree with the soliloquy? Or is it a sockumentary? Or is it a sockumentary? Or don't you realize, or don't you understand the command of the English language and rhyme in real time like Dr. Seuss and Mother Goose? Do you have that abuse in your management contract? Or is it a love trap?
All right, may I help you with something, or is there...
Well, I'm calling to help you with something. In other words, would it be the greatest production ever, of a human being doing 29 humanly impossible visual and auditory things? A, yes, or B, no. Remember, I'm recording you for our movie, and so you want to say it proud and out loud. Your name again? What was it, sir?
I'm not answering.
Are you
that, but
embarrassed?
thank you for your time.
Are you embarrassed? Are you embarrassed? You don't want a life like Roger Maris? And so that's Stephen Tannenbaum's office. Or is it Steve Sin Tannenbaum? Yes, may I speak with Chelsea Lately's production office?
NBC Universal, this is Jackie.
Yes, Jackie, this is Dr. Stewart. I'd like to speak with Chelsea Lately.
Chelsea, what's the last name?
Lately.
Oh, Chelsea Lately, you mean the show?
Yes. I'd like to speak with Chelsea, though. It's Chelsea Handler, Chelsea Lately. They use
All right.
both names.
I'll connect you. Hold on.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yes, may I speak with Chelsea Lately's production office?
NBC Universal, this is Jackie.
Yes, Jackie, this is Dr. Stewart. I'd like to speak with Chelsea Lately.
Chelsea, what's the last name?
Lately.
Oh, Chelsea Lately, you mean the show?
Yes. I'd like to speak with Chelsea, though. It's Chelsea Handler, Chelsea Lately. They use
All right.
both names.
I'll connect you. Hold on.
Thank you.
Sure.
Cisco Unity Connect.
Hello?
Yes, is Chelsea available? Have you ever seen anything more despicable, deplorable, horrible, and immortal than the Chelsea hate Lisa? Oh, yes, it be. Yes, hello, Maddie. We're doing a documentary Well, we're love-continuing our documentary. Can you say your name loud and proud for our documentary?
My name is Manuel.
Manuel?
Manuel. Yeah.
Manuel. Manuel, have you looked at God's manual lately?
At who?
God, God down here like never before to settle the one only God Almighty score. Can anybody soar like this, pure kiss of unadulterated bliss, non-stop pop after pop like the one only cop at the top? How evil is a human being that would ignore this pure kiss of unadulterated bliss? Can you tell we for our documentary, all of you at Chelsea Hately show?
I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're
How
saying.
evil is a human being hating the one only know, the one only glow, the one only human impossible show down here like never before, so the one only God Almighty score? How despicable and deplorable, horrible is that kind, or is it unkind of human being on this godforsaken scene? How evil is that evil? More than evil.
What's your name?
My name is God. Some people call me the love, the light, the love, the bright, the one only way.
Okay.
Yes.
1 second, okay?
Okay.
Hold on.
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes, hold on.
Hello.
That's you to somebody who can help you out, okay?
Okay.
1 second, please.
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes, hold on.
Hello.
That's you to somebody who can help you out, okay? 1
Okay.
second, please.
Yes, hello, Fernando. Do you know who the one only commando is?
Peter Palpin.
No. Do you know who the one only demando is?
Commander, I believe that's me.
Demando. It's a metal 11 sent from heaven. Who's the one only demander and the one only commander?
How you been, Peter?
Who's the one only God Almighty with his humanly impossible fury?
You tell me, Peter.
Who's the one only judge and jury? Who's the one only God Almighty down here like never before to settle the one only God Almighty score with scientific evidence that makes a lot of sense, with zero pretense? Can you tell us that? Who hung up, call her up because you're insane, lame in the brain, that refrains from the one only smirk, the one and only heart? Yes, hello, Peter Levinson, please.
Sorry, Peter who?
Peter Levinson.
Just a moment.
Or is it the one only sorcerer, for goddamn sure? And so, we're calling Universal Pictures because, we're so scared that, we keep pretending that God isn't here like never before to settle the one only God Almighty score. And we don't want to get bad nights, sad lifetimes, but, what are we going to do when the worldwide TV, PD Sweetie gets on it, and with the one only humanly impossible wit kit, and with scientific evidence that makes a hell of it a lot of sense, then we're going to all look more than any stupid, us cupids, cup of ids is the light with the
Yeah, I'm not sure that I can actually help you.
But what about help? Don't you want help? Are you able to admit the truth about God's humanly impossible proof and spoof?
I really can't make a comment on that, but have a good rest of the day here.
You're
Bye.
on our documentary, our documentary. And so this is how I tease Peter, I'm me, the one on leader. I didn't push the record button, and that was Universal, so he's pissed. Or is it the one only sorcerer, for goddamn sure? And so, we're calling Universal Pictures because, we're so scared that, we keep pretending that God isn't here like never before to settle the one only God Almighty score. And we don't want to get bad nights, sad lifetimes, but, what are we going to do when the worldwide TV, PD Sweetie gets on it, and with the one only humanly impossible wit kit, and with scientific evidence that makes a hell of it a lot of sense, then we're going to all look more than any stupid, us cupids, cup of ids is the light with the
Yeah, I'm not sure that I can actually help you.
But what about help? Don't you want help? Are you able to admit the truth about God's humanly impossible proof and spoof?
I really can't make a comment on that, but have a good rest of the day here. Bye.
You're on our documentary, our documentary. And so this is how I tease Peter, I'm me, the one on leader. I didn't push the record button, and that was Universal, so he's pissed. Or is it the one only sorcerer, for goddamn sure? And so, we're calling Universal Pictures because, we're so scared that, we keep pretending that God isn't here like never before to settle the one only God Almighty score. And we don't want to get bad nights, sad lifetimes, but, what are we going to do when the worldwide TV, PD Sweetie gets on it, and with the one only humanly impossible wit kit, and with scientific evidence that makes a hell of it a lot of sense, then we're going to all look more than any stupid, us Cupids, you know, a couple of ids is the light. With
Yeah, I'm not sure that I can actually help you.
But what about help? Don't you want help? Are you able to admit the truth about God's humanly impossible proof and spoof?
I really can't make a comment on that, but have a good rest of the day here.
You know,
Bye.
you're on our documentary, our documentary. And so this is how I tease Peter. I'm neither one on leader. I didn't push the record button, and that was universal, so he's pissed. Yes, Adam Goodman, please.
Hi, Mama.
Adam Goodman's office?
Hi, is Adam in?
Hi, I'm so sorry he's at lunch. Can I have him return your call?
Well, this is John Turtletub, and all of you know that I have the best love action, as the light would say, through Peter Palpin, for the light's first release movie, Face Street Corner Tavern, the edit by God through the skin of Peter Palpin. And so I'm shopping it around now before the Black Ball list is over for Pover and Rover. And so would Adam be interested in that?
Yeah, I can't speak to him.
In your humble opinion, what do you think? In other words, God entering someone's skin from heaven and doing 29 divine, humanly impossible scientific evidence things. Would that be the most amazing movie in the history of the world, in your humble opinion?
Yeah, it sounds fascinating.
Sounds fascinating or is fascinating?
It must be fascinating.
Must be, for sure, fascinating. In other words,
Can I take down your number and have him call you back?
In other words, you have a job with the president of Paramount, so you must be a little smart, right?
I would think so.
So what do you think of the love, the light, the love, the bright, and the one only way here in this modern day with its humanly impossible ways and fillets? Are you excited, ignited, and delighted? Do you understand rap in all caps like Dr. Seuss and Mother Goose? Do you understand rhyme in real time? Do you hate God for coming here like never before to settle the one only God Almighty score? How do you want to score with the love, the light, the love, the bright, and the one only way when you get back to heaven? So are you interested in this movie? As you can see, I remember lots of God's lines, only possible by the one only divine, the one only sublime, if you do it in real time. And so I'm just a good rapper, and that's why John Turtletub hired me, not because I'm dapper, and, well, I even clean his crapper. So, what do you think? In other words, I'm shopping the movie for John. Why'd you hang up? Corrupt.
Is Laura's office?
Hi, is Dennis in?
No, I'm sorry, he's traveling. Who's calling?
My name is Jamie. I'm working with John Turtletub. You know, he has his love action with Peter Palpin, the Night of the Light, with God. And so, you know, we have full distribution with all the Lights movies, and so I'm calling before the Black Ball list is over for Pover and Rover. And so he asked me to call Dennis because he's in distribution. Would you be interested in distributing the Lights movies?
That's not really my call. I can have
Dennis,
you talk to...
Do you think Dennis would?
I don't know.
You don't?
Do you want to send me an email?
Well, you work for him, right?
Yes.
And so you must be a little bit smart because you're working for the head of home media distribution.
Yeah, but I'm his assistant. I can't make decisions.
But one day you would love to have his job, right? Yes, hello, Jesse. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
That's good. Wow, you sound shocked that I said, how are you? I guess in Los Angeles and in Hollywood, as the light would say through Peter Palpin, no one's really learned. They yearn and burn, but they don't churn yet, and the one only smart, the one only heart, like me, Jamie, at John Turtletub's office. And so, as you know, John has a extra special love action with Peter Palpin, the Night of the Light. Obviously, so also with God. And so, obviously, they're going to be the biggest films in the history of the world. Would you agree? God entering a human being all the way from heaven with scientific evidence will be the biggest thing to ever hit the world once the Black Ball list is over?
I'm not sure. I'm not familiar.
You're not familiar with that?
Mm-mm.
Really? Oh, that's good. Well, now you'll be excited. Well, we have hundreds of movies, humanly impossible movies, starring God here in this modern day through the skin of Peter Palpin. In other words, it's the real Bruce Almighty in reality. And so obviously, Would you agree? In other words, you're well educated, you're working there. It's Sony, right? Are you well educated?
Yeah, I believe so.
Do you believe you are?
Is this about
Do you believe you
one
are?
of our songs?
Do you believe? Yeah, it's all the songs in the movies. Do you believe you are, or do you know you are intelligent?
I know I am.
You know you are, and so
what
if
song
I'm
are
telling you the truth that God enters the skin of Peter Palpin all the way from heaven in all our movies, would that for sure be the most marketable films in the history of the world, hurled and unfurled? In your humble, educated opinion, yes or B, no? Or you don't know yet?
I'm not sure.
You can't
Are
understand.
you calling to request?
You're not sure?
Are you calling?
That you're not sure about God here in modern day. Is that also not pure? In other words, would you think that's not
if
pure?
You're not calling to request a specific song,
I'm calling to request many songs because
okay,
you know the
can
likes.
you let me know which songs? Can you let me know which songs you're looking to use?
Yeah, well, first off, I'd like to know, will you let us use the songs now that you know they're in the Lights movies? Or are you going to fight us on that?
I can't give you any. I can't give you any approval without knowing which songs you want to use and the specific film that you want to use them in and how they're going to be used in the film.
Well, there's many of them.
A lot of information.
Well, we have a lot of the songs are from Sony that are in the Lights movies, God's movies. But you said you don't even know about the movies, right?
I need to have specific information.
I said you don't under. I'm giving you specific information. In other words, we need to take baby steps. In other words, this is a phone call to make you excited, ignited, and delighted. In other words, we have movies starring God here.
I need to have you fill out a form.
Can you not talk over me and not change the subject? Are you going to change the subject? Let me ask you: is it against the rules or laws at Sony Music? In Sony Publishing, if I bring up the most true, greatest news ever, is it against your rules to do that? Do you hang up on? If I call you with the greatest news ever involving your publishing, in other words, would you agree that God entering a human being is going to be the biggest movies in the history of the world? A, yes or B, no?
It is not against the rules.
Okay, now I'm asking you the next question. Will those movies be the most successful movies of all time if it's true that God enters someone's skin all the way from heaven and does 29 divine, humanly impossible?
I can't give you an answer on that. I'm not.
You can't figure that out? You're not sure? You're not sure? In other words, let me ask you a question. Is there anything more evil than pretending God isn't here like never before to settle the one only God Almighty score? According to God, if you were God and came down here with scientific evidence and people ignored you and pretended it wasn't true, would you hate their motherfucking guts and give them bad, mad, sad lifetimes? A, yes or B, no? Hello?
Sir, I really don't.
If you were God and you were ignored by human beings that He created, how many bad lifetimes would you give them?
Let me know, but I just really don't appreciate the way you're speaking to me.
Well, if you were God and human beings ignored you and pretended it wasn't you and pretended they don't even know you're here, what would you do to them if you were God? Hang up on them, obviously. Kathleen, can I speak with Amy Pascal?
That's really not something I can put you through to. You can try the main number.
Oh, why can't you do it?
Well, I don't work with Amy Pascal.
You don't? And you don't know how to reach her?
No. May I ask who's calling?
Is Amy a creature?
Is she what?
Does she enjoy the Lights double features?
I'm going to end this telephone conversation.
Are you an ugly, smugly, fugly? Yes, hi, this is Warner Brothers.
Yes, sir, Warner Brothers Studios, Burbank.
Yes, may I speak with Diane Nelson, please?
One moment, please. And is Diane Nelson at DC Entertainment?
Yes.
You have reached the offices of DC Entertainment. Our regular business hours are 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Please leave your message and someone will return your call. Thank you.
At the tone, please record your message.
Dan Feldman's office.
Hi, is Dan available?
Hi, may I ask who's calling?
Yes, this is Jamie in John Turtletub's office. I'm working on the distribution of the Lights movies with Peter Palpin.
He's actually out of the country and he won't be returning to the office until Monday.
Well, do you think he'll be excited, ignited, and delighted, as the light would say through his kid Pid, that he's available to get distribution now because we got permission from John working with Peter Palpin, the Night of the Light. Is that going to be the biggest thing ever? The one only humanly impossible clever lever. All those humanly impossible movies no longer have to be on YouTube. We'll make a lot of money and have funny with the light sunny. Hello?
Sorry?
I'm just having fun. Making fun with Sweet Peter Palpin. And so, what do you think? You think Dan will be excited, ignited, and delighted to hear about this kiss of pure unadulterated bliss?
I'm so sorry. I'm not sure what you're saying.
Are you lost at words? Are you lost for words?
Yes.
Are you excited, ignited, and delighted about the one only Skybird down here like never before to settle the one only God Almighty score? A yes or B no? Are you happy, rappy, clappy, and snappy about the one only humanly impossible Pappy? With his humanly impossible rappies down here like never before to settle the one only holy war? Or are you depressed and stressed to find out there's the one only best of all best? Yes, hi, Sue Kroll, please.
Kroll's office?
Hi, is Sue available?
She is at lunch right now. Can I ask who's calling?
Yes, this is Jamie in John Turtletub's office. All excited, ignited, and delighted because we got distribution for the Lights movies. And so I know you guys are going to be happy, rappy, and clappy, and snappy because who doesn't want to release the one and only Pappy's movies worldwide in the name of Warner Brothers Pride, no snide, because we all know nobody could glide like the love, the light, the love, the bright, and the one and only way here in this modern day. What do you think of my impersonation?
Sounds pretty good to me. So, can I have her call you back?
Yes, I'm here with Peter. 802-222-0589.
802-222-0589.
Right.
Jamie and Peter.
Well, Jamie and John Turtletub.
Okay, Jamie and John.
Yeah, but we're working with Peter and John. John gave me this job to set up the distribution. So, Time Warner is our first choice.
Right, of course.
Of course.
Okay, great. I'll let Sue know as soon as she gets back.
Okay, thank you, my dear.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Hi, this is Jamie. Who's calling?
Jamie, this is Sue Kroll returning your call.
Yes, how are you?
All right, how are you?
I'm very well. I'm fantastic. I'm working with John Turtletub, who's been given the rights to all God's movies down here, his humanly impossible movies. I'm sure you've heard about it. It's been going on for 9 divine years down here in the Undear and Unclear. But it's interesting how people who've been graced with such amazing lights in Los Angeles and in Hollywood would hate God for coming down here with the greatest news answer or ever, answering all the questions that Woody Allen's been asking in all his movies for years. Why me and why them? And look at my life, so great. And look at their life in the street with nothing to eat. And so now we understand the one only demander and one only commander. And so a new movie is going out tonight with all these loversations on our end and conversations on the entertainment industry's end. And so what end are you going to take? In other words, aren't you in charge of distribution for Warner Brothers?
Well, I'm in charge of marketing, but this is a bigger conversation. There are a group of us. Dan and Veronica are in charge of distribution. There's a committee. It's a broader conversation. Listen, my recommendation...
Well, let me ask you a question, though.
What?
If it's true that God enters somebody's skin down here with scientific evidence. And there's hundreds of movies displaying 29 scientific evidence, humanly impossible visual and auditory, more than any entertaining things. In other words, dancing better than the greatest dancers in the history of the world, moving in karate at a humanly impossible, physiological, biological, impossible speed. And the guy's 60 years old, basically, and he's all of a sudden 22, humanly impossible, brain spanking new in full view. With that for sure, in other words, you're in marketing. In other words, do you even have to think for a millisecond? Would those be the most marketable films in the history of the world, if it's true? A yes or B no?
Well, certainly B.
A yes or B no?
Listen, yes.
A
Jamie,
yes or
Jamie,
B no?
Jamie.
A yes or B no?
Jamie, don't yell at me. I'm calling you back. I'm going to have our business affairs people call you so you can have the right conversation at the right time. Okay? Thank you for calling. I'm going to pass this along. I don't want to be yelled at. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And so this is the one and only God Almighty through Sweetie Petey. And that was the head of marketing at Warner Brothers Studios. And I've been telling Peter Sweeter, me, the one and only leader and heart bleeder, that Warner Brothers were going to distribute our humanly impossible movies. But today, after talking to so many disgusting people who hate God in this modern day, like Peter's brother, Davidio Heaven Palpin, and they run from the greatest news ever, that there's a humanly impossible clever lever with their endeavor slurs and endeavorers for goddamn sure, none of them pure. And of course, people hate being yelled at by the one and only source because they feel more than any remorse. And they all want a beautiful torso and face and waist and every other space and place in the next lifetime. But the question is, can their ego let go? Can they let go of the ego? Or is it the ego? And so this is what I do with Peter Sweeter, me, the one and only leader. And he never questions my what? My lessons. Or are they lessons? In other words, that woman knows it's the one and only Skybird. And of course, she was being nice and the one and only Slice Precise. Peter couldn't believe she called back for all the heart he thought they all lacked at Warner Brothers. But maybe I, the one and only God Almighty, was telling Peter the truth, all part of this humanly impossible spoof and proof. In other words, I, the one and only Skybird, told Peter, Peter, don't worry, we'll just distribute everything ourselves through a direct line to the movie cinemas. And of course, all our DVDs will be sold on our website, so we don't need any help with that. And obviously, God will get worldwide publicity, PR, for the one and only star of all stars. And so what? Who cares that the one and only God Almighty is down here in the undear and unclear like never before? This is Warner Brothers. I'd like to speak with Sue Kroll. I just had a phone call from her.
Okay, one moment, sir.
Honestly, first we'd like to thank Sue for calling us back. And this is the one and only God Almighty through the skin of Sweeter Peter Palpin. And I screamed at the top of Peter's lungs. And with good reason. And so I'd like to talk to her again like this. Kiss of Pure Unadulterated Bliss. And we are doing a movie that will be on YouTube tonight. And I am making her younger because I did yell.
Can you hold for just a moment?
Yes. She just said you could leave a message and someone will get back to you, and that's not true blue. So they should have picked up the humanly impossible clues. And so we're not amused. And so we'll give them one more chance to take the right stance. Hang up, corrupt. And so now you see why I yelled and screamed through my kid Peen. And so this is the one and only humanly impossible beam. And so what's more interesting than people hating God? Hating, despising God down here like never before, to settle the one and only God Almighty score. And so my kid poor can't comprehend humans anymore. In other words, the word believe, he cannot believe him, Peter Palpin. He cannot comprehend humans going to war with the one only forevermore. And so obviously I won't be making this lady Sue younger with my humanly impossible thunder and sunder. And so Peter wonders when I'll end the black ballast. But honestly, he told me today, and he's telling the truth because he never lies, my sweetie Petey Paw. In other words, next month I'll get a pension, at least half the pension I don't fail to mention, from the Screen Actors Guild, from the little movies that he did. My kid Pid back in the day, the Barbarian Brothers day. And so that pay will give him money to get a small, non-gas guzzling car. And of course, I, the one only star of all stars, will walk him up to the best deal, like all the deals in our castle. It's not a hassle for me, the one and only God Almighty, more than obviously. Another thing that pisses off the ugly, the smugly, and the fugly. Coinkydink after coinkydink of humanly impossible financial deals and spiels and wheels. And what's more interesting than human beings that have been graced with great lifetimes that have zero feel? People that hate God for coming down here with the greatest, most amazing, incredible, true scientific evidence news ever about God and about heaven and about God's rules, not for stools and ghouls and cruels and mules. And so on July 1st, Peter will get a burst of a little bit of money, extra money. In other words, he has enough money now from social insecurity and food stamps to eat and pay the electric and gas and wood bill and cable bill and enough money for the mixes, for the fixes. And he does wish he could open a Mixes for the Fixes restaurant, because that would make him big, easy money, as long as the people around there weren't insanely jealous of the skin. I'd jump in all the way from heaven. But Peter doesn't care about that, my cat in the hat. He lives like a millionaire down here in the undear and unclear. He just doesn't have a girlfriend. Well, because of what? But he's happy, rappy, clappy, and snappy about me, the one only humanly impossible Pappy. Down here like never ever before to settle the one only God Almighty score. And he realizes we are at war with human beings on this godforsaken scene that hate me mainly because of he, Sweetie Petey, because I made him into an Indian boy superhero. And when you all see my next movie with Petey Sweetie, and see he's even younger with my humanly impossible thunder and sunder. Even the close-ups are gonna cut the dirtiest, rottenest throats that gloat with more than any jealous filth, with more than any milk and silk. But Peter's sure they won't watch it anyway, because out of sight, out of mind. But hopefully the kinder than any kind, my lovers, go up to the corrupt and tell them about it. And tell them about it, and tell them about it, and tell them about it. Because they want to win with me, the one and only God Almighty, because that's what I'm asking them. Or is it telling them to do if they want to win huge with me, the one and only God Almighty? And so, with the extra money, Peter will get a car. And then he could drive to this town 30 miles or 20 miles away called Barry and work out 3 days a week with weights and plates. And maybe he could even find a date, first rate. Of course, if I, the one only source, make that happen for sweeter Peter Palpin. And of course, he knows if I put my insane pain kings into the creeples that have trespassed us, then all of a sudden we'll be let back in to the gym and let back on the tennis court. But until I do those humanly impossible reports and retorts all the way up on the corrupt, they rather live in insane pain and be aged and rash-kinged and numb-kinged. But they know. Once I, the one only know and glow and flow in humanly impossible show the love, the light, the love, the bright, in the one only way here in this modern day, turn my pain kings all the way up, like I'm the hired killers, those more than any corrupt. Then they'll give in and they'll give me, sweeter Peter Palpin, whatever we want on this lifetime jaunt. And so Peter has faith and he has patience. And he doesn't even care anymore. In other words, he loves the way I score and the way I soar. He loves the way I tease the God-hating sleaze. He loves the mental games from whence they came. In other words, this is a thriller and a chiller. More than any double biller. So to Peter, there's nothing more interesting than God coming down here with scientific evidence. And all his morals make a hell of a lot of moral sense with zero pretense, unlike all those so-called religious and spiritual books, all rewritten by crooks and snooks in the library, not true bury full of scary theory. And so to Peter, what's more interesting even than me, the one and only God Almighty, down here in this modern day reality, doing humanly impossible things to Petey, Sweetie, through Sweetie Petey, and not through Sweetie Petey. And human beings actually hating it, and berating it, and skating around it, and pretending it's not true, and neglecting me, the one and only God Almighty, and disrespecting me, the one and only God Almighty, that they all know for goddamn sure is here in their modern day reality. And over for 9 divine years I've stated my rules that aren't for ghouls and stools and cruels. And so Peter's brain can't comprehend. Can't comprehend for the life of him why people would choose to be grim even in forever and ever bad, mad side lifetimes, knowing for goddamn sure for not being pure, to me the one and only real-time cure, and the one and only pure, the one and only judge and jury with all my humanly impossible fury, that in all those bad, mad, sad lifetimes they will be cognitive of their unworthiness and their unholiness. And they'll be known as a grave for straying away in this modern day from the one and only.